Hello! This is the explainer video about MultiKnip, our programmable money solution. In this video, I'll be explaining what MultiKnip is, how it works, what it's used for. I'll give a demonstration of a transaction and explain some use cases. My name is Adrie Wisman and I'm the founder and system architect of pbtoken.com, where we redefine the way money drives purpose, value and impact. Now, this was all inspired by my grandmother. She had a wallet which had different compartments. She had several kinds of money. She had rent money, clothing money, grocery money, holiday money. Every type of money had its own purpose. Now, we translated that into the 21st century with MultiKnip, an app on your phone which can hold different kinds of smart money, different compartments with programmable money that has rules embedded in it, intentions, smarts embedded in it. And you can simply take the app, go to selected shops, scan a QR code and press yes, and your payment is done. Safe, secure, fast, all at once. Now, our app, MultiKnip, is developed with privacy by design in mind. So it is a hollow vessel. It doesn't hold any personal information. It is GDPR proof, the General Data Protection Regulations. It holds no personal information. It is empty until you import coins. The user does not have to register on any platform whatsoever. They don't need a bank account, helping the unbanked. You don't need an ID. You don't even need an email address. It can be fully anonymous if needed, but the government, city council or company that issues the money can also choose to have it connected to a person. We'll talk about that later on. Now, when you have the app on your phone, you can see what you have, how much you have, which transaction history you have, where you spend your money. You can see messages concerning your different tokens. Lots of things are on your phone, so you can have a look. Now, normally you would use our programmable money on your phone, but for inclusion purposes, we also developed a way so you can use it without a phone. So you can use it just with a card like this with a QR code on it. So you do not need, as an end user, you do not need a phone, a smartphone to use our system. Now, what is earmarked money? What is programmable money? It is money where rules can be defined in the money, right? So the issuer, let's say a government or a city council, define who gets how much, where it can be spent, on what, and until when. Right? This gives full transparency and control for that city council or that company to give out the money and have certainty it will only be spent on these defined criteria. Now, it works with a smart wallet on your phone, like I already mentioned, which is called MultiKnip. It is usually used for grants, distributing budgets, etc. And the current conventional way to distribute grants is a very inefficient administrative process. It is very labor intensive. There have been delays, long lead times, and it is error prone. Very often the IT department also needs to put in a lot of energy to get this rolling. Now, there is a lot of labor involved because there normally is a lack of transparency. These are mostly public funds or tax money or whatever, and to have exactly on the map where it is spent, on what, etc., is a big task. And there is a very large risk of misuse and fraud. So in the conventional system, there is only a limited control over how the grants are really used. And every one of these projects has some accounting involved, and also that accounting at the end of the project is a lot of work. Next to that, privacy and security rules are very often very difficult to implement, because there is a need to know who is involved, who received the money, for what, etc. We solved this. We solved this with programmable money, and I already explained the issuer of the money embeds rules and defines beforehand who gets how much, where it can be spent, on what, and until when. And it is, for instance, used in the country where I live for energy subsidies to make domestic housing more energy efficient. People could only buy energy saving products with the money in their wallet, on their phone. But we also did a very big project involving 20,000 families who had energy poverty because of the increase in natural gas prices. Here in my country, the gas prices tripled or even quadrupled, and they couldn't pay their energy bill anymore. So the government set aside 100 million euros to help families with paying their energy bills. But if you give these families cash, then it probably will end up somewhere else than at the energy bill. Or they are already in debt, so the money will go there, or they will buy a new television set or whatever. We used programmable money, so they will only use that money for the intended goal. But also other groups, for instance, for social inclusion. Families on social income that need a school laptop for their children, or cannot afford to pay the soccer club where their children want to play every month. And by giving them purpose-bound money, we are sure that these children will get what they need. We also did projects, for instance, for increasing the mobility of refugees by handing out bicycles. We had a very nice use case where normally the city council would call a large international company in Asia to send 100 bicycles. We now said no, start a campaign in your city asking the people if they have a bicycle in their garage, which they don't use, to bring it to one of these 10 bicycle shops and donate it, but get a voucher, coins, purpose-bound money, in return, 50 euros, only valid at local restaurants. Go and have dinner on us. Now, the bicycle shops received 50 euros to clean and fix the bike, and the refugees got coins with which they could buy the bicycles. Right? Now we have happy citizens who got engaged into this project, happy restaurants, happy bicycle shops, happy refugees, happy city council. We kept the money for stimulating the local economy, and we saved 200 bicycles from the scrapyard doing circular economy. So we had a win-win, win-win-win, win-win situation. But it doesn't have to be money. It can also be kilograms or hours or rain barrels or whatever you want. It doesn't have to be money explicitly. For entrepreneurs, we did some projects where we helped with making office buildings more energy efficient, or they got coins for getting a consultant to look at their energy footprint in their company. Some companies got coins with which they could buy a charging station for an electric vehicle parked at their company. So there are many, many use cases where you can use programmable money. The nicest thing is that there is a lot of security and compliance, because the funds, which are the collateral for the coins that are being distributed, stay in the bank account of the municipality, the city council, the company. And they only get paid out if the users buy the products that were intended for this goal, or if they expire. Every coin has an expiry date where the issuer has a date, so the obligations to pay for these coins will end. The funds, the collateral for these coins, stay in the bank account and are paid directly from the bank account of the issuer, the city council or the company, directly paid to the bank account of the supplier, the shop, the vendor. We are not in between. We are just a facilitator for the technology. We send every day or every week, as requested, a payment file to the issuer of the money, and they will pay directly from their bank account to the bank account of the supplier. No middleman, no commissions, no paper nightmares, no special banking hardware needed, just a smartphone. It is very reliable and very regulatory approved. From literally day one, we connected to our national bank here in the Netherlands, and last year we were invited to participate in the European Blockchain Regulatory Sandbox, where we talked to 12 national banks and regulators, where we explained exactly until the last screw and bolt what we do and how it works. And they were very enthusiastic and made us exempt from MiCAR regulations in the European Union, so we can do projects in every country in Europe, which has all these very strict rules because of our robustness and compliance. Now, why would a organization, a city council or a government work with a solution like this? First of all, it's because there is complete control, right? If you give out a grant in the form of cash money, you lose control. You hope that people will give you a receipt, will give you proof that they spend the money in the intended way. Sometimes procurement demands that people first have to buy the goods upfronting with their own money, and then showing the original receipt, they will get reimbursed. But even here in the Netherlands, which is a first world country, 96% of the people in need of programs like this don't have the money to upfront in the first place, right? A family on social income is unable to upfront the cost of a school laptop and then getting reimbursed. So our solution, where they have coins and they can just go to the shop and buy it, is a million times better. But not only this complete control, there's also a lot of automation going on, and that saves a lot of time. Time for processing, but also time so that the shops, the vendors, get their money earlier, and making it a lot more easy for them to participate. It saves a lot of costs, It is very secure, which prevents fraud and abuse. People that receive money for buying a school laptop can only spend it on buying a school laptop, cannot use it to buy a new television set or go a weekend to Paris or have a drink on a terrace. It can only be spent on the intended goal. It is very transparent. Our programmable money is fully traceable from A to Z, and the information is stored on a distributed ledger, cutting fraud and fighting corruption. Privacy is very high. We simply do not store any personal information. The result of that is that we cannot have a data leak because we simply do not have the information. So the last thing is there is more control, more insight, and increased measurability, which leads to simpler final reporting. The obvious benefits to the users, that they have much easier access to the grant. They don't have to upfront their money. They cannot overspend or spend their money on other things. And they have always on their phone the records of what they have, how much, where they have spent it, and where they can spend it. They can also receive messages. Let's say there are new vendors for that coins, new acceptors, or there is an event planned for this special group that received this grant. They can see these messages in the app. For the suppliers, there are also many benefits. There's very simple onboarding. Within 90 seconds, they can use the app and accept payments. They get new customers and additional sales. They get their money faster than in conventional ways because the trust is in the money. The proof of the transaction is very often enough proof to say that the issuer will send the money to them. There are no administrative actions, right? They simply show a QR code to the customer, which scans it, and there are no vouchers, no signatures, nothing has to be sent to the issuer. Everything is automatically. And it works with a normal smartphone. You don't need special payment terminals for it, which are expensive. And of course, there are environmental benefits. You don't have any plastic cards that get lost. What will get lost faster, a phone or a plastic card? And the transactions we do on our blockchain, which is ultra energy efficient, take less energy per transaction than a bank transaction. So it's eco-friendly. Now, so a brief comparison. The conventional methods are very labor intensive, are long procedures, lots of approvals, there is limited control, and most of the time citizens have to upfront the money which they don't even have. With our way of programmable money, our earmarked money, there's a quick allocation and a very simple use. People don't have to upfront anymore. There is much less administrative burden. There's no way for fraud, aid leakage, corruption or abuse. It's more environmental friendly. It's better measurable and simple final reporting. So a lot of big advantages. Our first deployment was in 2022 in the city of Emmen in the Netherlands, where the city council, the year 2021, sent out paper vouchers to every family in the city, giving them the chance to buy energy-saving products to lower their energy bill. But over a period of 7 months in 2021, only 16% of the budget was claimed. A very low percentage. They even sent out 3 letters to every household telling them, listen, you've got these energy-saving vouchers. You get free money. Use it to lower your energy bill. But only 16% was claimed. Now they came to us, and in January of 2022, we used MultiKnip. And MultiKnip was the front runner of MultiKnip. It only had one coin, where MultiKnip can hold several coins. We send out 50,000 QR codes, 50,000 wallets on January 11th of 2022, and 13 days later 100% of the money was claimed, right? So it was a lot better, a lot faster, at lower cost, and 100% of the money was used. While the year before, 84% of the money had to be sent back to the government because it wasn't claimed. So it was a win-win-win-win situation for the municipality, for the residents, for the retailers, and for the environment. We got a lot of publicity, and even in China they were writing about our MultiKnip. Let me tell you how it works. So people receive a QR code, a card with a QR code, and with the QR code they can install the app on their phone. Every coin can hold a questionnaire. So if the municipality wants, they can have the end users answer a few questions about their demographic, about the way they are going to use the grant, lots of things. So people answer the questions, put in the data, and the answers are sent to the municipality, fully anonymous, which sends back the grant in return. Now they have the money on their phone. With their phone, they go to vendors, suppliers, retailers, and buy the goods, the products, the services intended by the issuer. In the case of the MultiKnip, it were energy-saving measures. They take the products home and install them to lower their energy bill. Now the coins are in the wallet of the vendors, the retailers, and every night at 10 o'clock a sweep is done by our system to see which retailer had any revenue that day or that week, depending on how frequent the city council want these reports. Now, if there is some revenue, these coins will be sent back to the issuer. But in between, you see it here, is a payment robot, which sees that if 1,000 coins are sent back to the municipality, 1,000 euros or dollars or yen or real, whatever you have as a conversion, 1,000 are sent from the real bank account of the municipality to the real bank account of the retailer. So on the left side of this schematics, you see virtual money, and on the right side you see real money, and they are connected by that payment robot, right? Because we cannot program conventional real money. We put a layer on top of it which enforces the rules, but payment is always, settlement is always in fiat money, in euros, in dollars, in kwacha, in yens, in reals, whatever. Here in this schematic you see the different steps again. People receive the QR code, install the app, answer some questions, get the money, spend the money. The money is being sent back to the municipality, and the money goes straight from the bank account of the municipality to the bank account of the retailers. So the retailers get 100%. It's not like a credit card where we withhold 2 or 3%. The retailers get the full amount up to the cent. Now, the use cases for this are incredibly wide, right? We're looking at different projects we already did in Europe. I told you about energy poverty, making domestic housing more energy efficient, helping small and middle enterprises to become more energy efficient. Lots and lots of examples. Now we are also working on other projects on even other continents and other countries. We're currently looking into setting up a project in Cameroon, helping female entrepreneurs to pay for their market stalls. These women try to earn some money to get food on the table for their families. So in the morning they go to the market, buy a crate of tomatoes and go and sit on the market and sell them per 3 or per kilo or whatever. And during the day, a representative of the city council will come by and ask them to pay for their market stall. And most of the time this fee also includes a small part of tax. But if they come in the morning, they ask the representative to come back in the afternoon because they don't have enough revenue to pay. Sometimes they get sent away, and if you get sent away, you don't have money to put food on the table, or you don't even have money to come back the next day. So UNDP is looking into paying these days of market stalls for these women so they can provide food for their families. In this case, there would not be money on the card, on the QR code, there would be market days. And you could reload every month, let's say with 10 market days again and again. And if it's not used, it'll stay on the card and we'll top it up to 10 market days, for instance. Other use cases are, for instance, for farmers, dedicated, purpose-bound money to buy fertilizer, seeds, or tools for farming to increase their crops. Another use case we're looking at the moment is paying medical bills for financially vulnerable citizens so they can get money to pay for their medicines and their doctor's bills, and using purpose-bound money, which they have on their card, without upfronting, without saving receipts, sending it to the municipality and all kinds of privacy concerns. They can just use their card and pay at the pharmacy. Now here you see a starter card. If you pause the video, you can scan this QR code and just with the camera of your phone and install it. And let me see if I can even enlarge it a little bit. I can try to do this. So if you scan the starter card QR code with your camera, you can install MultiKnip. And if you then start the app and scan the same QR code again, you'll import 3 different kinds of coins: laptop coins, health coins, and maternity care coins, for instance. Now, there are different transaction models to use in our app. So most common would be the user has the coins on their phone and the vendor uses the exact same app but activated with a different QR code. It becomes a PIN machine, so they do the transaction amongst themselves. Yeah, you go to a shop and you'll see how a transaction goes in a moment, but the vendor will generate a QR code with the amount and the description. The user will scan it with the scan button and press yes, and the transaction is done. But especially for instance, young children that do not have a smartphone, older people that don't have a smartphone, or people that just cannot afford a smartphone, you can also use the card in itself. In combination with a 6-digit PIN code, the vendor can use his phone, put in the amount, and scan the QR code from the card, give his phone to the user, which types in the PIN code, and then do the transaction without the user having a phone. And we also have a different kind. That's when the end user has a phone with MultiKnip on it, but the vendor, let's say it's a market vendor and he has a standard product which he sells a few hundred of, and he doesn't want to take out his smartphone and type in the amount, etc. every time, then he can just generate a static QR, hang that up in his market stall and say, okay, scan that QR code, pay me, and here you have the product, which is a bit faster for the vendor. So we have many different kinds of transaction models. Also, every QR code can be secured with a PIN code, so you cannot import them. When you have a high value ticket of a few $1,000s, you might want to keep that PIN code separate from the card. Lots of security measures. Time for a demo. So you can see how a transaction works out in real time. Let's do that right now. Now I will start this demo off with a clean slate. So you can see installation and doing a transaction, and going from 0 to a full transaction will only take 90 seconds or something. I will get my phone up and running. To install the app, you simply have to scan the QR code, right? So let me take a QR code scanner, scan the QR code, and go to that website. It will show me a website and ask if I have an Android phone or an iPhone. I will choose Android and I will install the app. Now, that takes a few seconds. It will install it, do a virus check. That's standard on my phone. And I can open the app. Now with the app, I can choose a language. All done. Now the app is empty. It's an empty shell, right? There are no coins present. By tapping the Scan QR button and scanning the same QR code again, I can import coins on my phone. In this case, I will get laptop coins, health coins, and maternity care hours. Okay. Now they are imported on my phone. I can see here what I have and how much I have. I can import other coins. Let's say here I also was from my last expo in Germany. I can import these coins that were seed coins, popcorn coins, and a mystery coin. Okay. It's as simple as that. Just simply scanning the QR code and then you have the coins imported on your phone. Now, every coin has its own ecosystem of vendors. So if I tap on the coin itself, I can see which vendors are accepting the coins, and if I tap on them, I get their phone numbers and addresses and web address, and I can even find them on Google Maps where they are. All the information is in there. Now, the vendor, the shop, has the same app, but activates it with a different QR code, which turns it into a PIN machine. Now, let's say I want to do a transaction. I go into a shop, or on this one, I believe it's maternity care hours. I had a maternity caregiver at my house, and she needs some hours that she worked from me. So we tap register, we say 2 hours in this case for care, return, enter. So the vendor will generate a QR code and show that to the customer. This is what you have to pay. Customer presses 2 buttons, scan QR code, then it will say, oh, you have to pay 2 baby care hours to that and that company. What is left now is 35 hours, you had 37. Do you want to pay? Yes, otherwise this would be a very short demonstration. Now the coins are transferred from the account of the end user to the account of the vendor. And you see the transaction was successful. Here is the transaction we did, 2 hours. Instead of 37, we now have 35. And even in the history of the vendor, we can see the 2 hours, and we can also look it up on their balance, etc. That's all there is. The vendor doesn't have to do anything to receive the money. This evening at 10 o'clock, our system will check every vendor if there is any revenue and make a file for the issuer so they can release the payment. As simple as that. The people receiving the coins can look in the history, look up what happened, what they already paid for on other days, etc. So they can exactly see where their money has gone. They don't have to upfront anything. They don't have to send any receipts, any working hours, signatures, etc. A transaction is as simple as that. Fast, secure, intuitive. Now, instead of using a phone, the end user could also have just used their QR code. As long as they have the 6-digit PIN code, that'll work. It will scan and do the transaction. Let me see if these coins are on that particular pass, credit card. I'll do 1 hour of care. And I'm going to scan the customer's QR code. And this says, oh, no, those coins are not on that pass. Then here I have one that has them. Now it is processing. It says, oh, you, the owner of the pass, the credit card, you want to pay 1 hour. Yes, I want to. Then they need a QR code with a PIN. I put in the PIN and the transaction is done. As simple as that, right? We put in the PIN so nobody can just take a picture of the card and just take out all the hours or the money. So it's a 2-factor authorization you need, and the card and the PIN. Simple demonstration, but very efficient. So that was a demo, and it wasn't sped up or something. You saw in real time what happened and how easy it is just scanning a QR code and pressing 2 buttons. Now, I told at the start that we are in contact with our national bank, and last year we were even in the European blockchain sandbox. We were selected as one of the 20 companies in the whole of Europe, from Norway to Cyprus, to talk to central banks all over Europe and to show them our application, and they were very enthusiastic. And last December I got the opportunity to go on podium at the IGF, the conference organized by the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, to talk about how programmable money can help solve or achieve the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And nearly every SDG can be brought a little bit forward using our programmable money. We even wrote a report, you can find it on our website, which explains how it works in depth. Just pause the video, go to the website and get the report. But there's more. I told you at the beginning, every coin can be connected to a questionnaire. Every detail which is stored from that questionnaire is fully anonymous. It can be retrieved and aggregated for a large group of users, but you cannot trace back the answers to one single person. By giving away these coins after answering, we also incentivize the answering of these questions. And these questions could be about deliverables in your project. So the end reporting would become a lot easier. You could use these answers, like in Emmen, our first project, to improve future policy about energy and how people use the energy. And as I told you, we can have messages sent to notify users about new retailers, events, new schemes, etc. Even if they are anonymous, the wallet knows that they have a certain coin and picks out of the news stream certain relevant messages to them. Now, to conclude, MultiKnip is much more efficient than the old way. It speeds up aid, it lessens administrative burden, it lowers cost because there are no commissions, no middlemen, etc. It's more secure because these vouchers are electronically, you cannot forge them, you cannot copy them. There is automatic protection against double spending. You can use the coins on several phones. If a father and a mother want to install these coins on both their phones, that's okay. But as soon as one spends the money, it also disappears on the other phone. So double spending is not an issue. It stimulates the local economy. It keeps the money in your own region instead of that it can be spent on Amazon.com or some other multinational. It's very eco-friendly and it has much more impact. So this is what is called by the Authority of Financial Markets in my country the money of the future. It is built to incentivize, reward and help people, or as I like to call it, it is money with a mission. Thank you.